Hey there, classic rock lovers, and welcome to Classic Reviews, where we review classic rock albums. And today we have an exciting treat for you. So get ready for an epic CD review that will hopefully leave you craving to listen to these artists. The CD we will be reviewing will be an Alice Cooper tribute CD called Humanary Stew, a tribute to Alice Cooper, which came out in January 1999. As some of you may already know, Alice Cooper is a highly influential rock and metal icon who pioneered shock rock and theatrical rock and stage shows. And like I've said with tribute and cover albums before, it depends on whether I know many of the songs or artists covering them. And in this case, I know most of the artists covering these songs, and I know most of the songs that are being covered. This album does have a cool album cover. You get a portion of Alice Cooper's face, and the album title is in a cool font on the front cover. And on both the front and back covers, you get this cloudy snakeskin pattern background with a black widow spider. The one downside with the album covers is that the track listing only features the song titles and not the artist covering them. So if you want to know who's performing these songs, you have to open up. Oh, here we go. You have to open up the album and read the small print. Like with previous cover and tribute albums I've covered, when doing the track by track, I'm purely focusing on the performances of the song rather than talking about the background of the song and the lyrics, etc. And yes, some songs I'll be able to talk about more than others. The opening track of his tribute album features Joe Elliott and Phil Collen of Def Leppard singing and playing lead guitar on the Alice Cooper song Under My Wheels. The other musicians of this song are Chuck Wright of Quiet Riot on bass, Pat Torpey of Mr. Big on drums, and Clarence Clemens of Bruce Springsteen's E Street Band on saxophone. This is a cover that flows very smoothly, is a solid start for this album, and certainly sets the tone of what kind of performances to expect on this CD. The second song on this CD features Dave Mustaine and Marty Friedman of Megadeth sing and play lead guitar on Alice Cooper's signature song School's Out. The other musicians that are playing on this cover are Bob Daisley of Ozzy Osbourne and Rainbow on bass, Eric Singer on drums, who has played with Alice Cooper as well as being in Kiss, Black Sabbath and Badlands, and on keyboards you have Paul Taylor, who, like with Kip Winger, played in Alice Cooper's band before forming the band Winger. Anyway, like when Megadeth covered No More Mr. Nice Guy for the Shocker film soundtrack, this song proves that Dave Mustaine is one of the best people to cover an Alice Cooper song, with how similar their voices are. With this cover of School's Out, it does seem like that Dave Mustaine is really enjoying himself. Plus, it turns out that Alice Cooper has been like a mentor-like figure to Dave Mustaine over the years. The third song on this CD features Roger Daltrey of The Who and Slash from Guns N' Roses singing and playing lead guitar on one of my favourite Alice Cooper songs called No More Mr. Nice Guy. This cover also features Mike Inez from Alice in Chains on bass and Carmine Appice on drums. And the main thing I like about this cover is that Alice Cooper wrote this song with the Who song Substitute in mind. And this wouldn't be a proper Alice Cooper tribute without Slash, who has performed with Alice Cooper many times both live and in the studio. With this particular cover performance, the band or the musicians are spot on. The playing is superb, but I found the vocals a bit underwhelming. Like I said, while I like the fact that Roger Daltrey is singing a song that his own band inspired, I think some of his phrasing and note choices just really don't do it for me. Track number 4 on this CD features the legendary Ronnie James Dio and Steve Lukather from Toto singing and playing lead guitar on the song Welcome to My Nightmare. You also get half of Ozzy Osbourne's Ultimate Sin lineup in the form of Phil Soussan on bass and Randy Castillo on drums, as well as a second appearance by Paul Taylor on keyboards. And this has to be one of the best performances on this tribute album. Some people say that this cover is better than the original. You know it's going to be something special if Ronnie Dio is appearing on a covers or tribute album, and this whole performance really doesn't disappoint. He certainly makes the song his own and a lot more powerful, with a more delicate than usual vocal, but at the same time doesn't stray away too much from the original. Track number 5 features Vince Neil and Mick Mars of Motley Crue singing and playing lead guitar on the song Cold Ethel. This cover also features bass playing virtuoso Billy Sheehan and Simon Phillips on drums, who's played with many top artists and bands. Like with Dave Mustaine singing on Schools Out, it really sounds like Vince Neil is genuinely having fun singing this song. And like with the previous song, I think this is one of the best songs on this album. Mick Mars puts in a brilliant performance on this cover, and I wouldn't expect anything less from him. And Vince Neil definitely sings in the spirit of Alice Cooper and does sound really similar at times. Obviously, Vince Neil is more nasal, etc., but you can't fault him at all on this cover. Song 6 on this CD features Bruce Dickinson and Adrian Smith of Iron Maiden singing and playing lead guitar on the song Black Widow. This cover also features fretless bass player Tony Franklin, who's played with many different top bands and artists, and you also get Tommy Aldridge on drums, who's played with Whitesnake and Ozzy Osbourne among other top rock acts. Overall, this is a very good cover that Bruce Dickinson certainly makes his own, and you can really tell it's Bruce Dickinson at the end. One thing Bruce Dickinson does is that he really likes to tell stories in his songs, and you could tell that in this cover in the way it's sung. The last thing I could think of to say about this cover is that Bruce Dickinson also performs the Devil's Food monologue at the start of this song, which, like I said, proves that he likes to tell stories when he performs a song. Track number 7 features Dee Schneider from Twisted Sister and Zakk Wylde from Ozzy Osbourne's band covering the song Go to Hell. This cover also features two members from the band Quiet Riot in the form of bass player Rudy Sarzo, who's also been in Ozzy Osbourne's band and Whitesnake among other top rock acts, and Frankie Banali on drums. Plus you get the third appearance now by winger keyboard player Paul Taylor. The main thing to say about this performance is that it has to be one of the more darker sounding songs on this album. Zakk Wylde's guitar playing on this cover, I think, is a higher tempo than the original, and it makes this song sound like something that should have been on Ozzy Osbourne's No More Tears or Osmosis albums. And Dee Schneider certainly really goes for it, with a rather demonic sounding vocal, but still singing in the spirit of Alice Cooper. Track number 8 features Phil Lewis from LA Guns and George Lynch from Dokken and Lynch Mob singing and playing lead guitar on the Alice Cooper song Billion Dollar Babies. Also on this cover, you have Stu Hamm and Vinnie Colaiuta on bass and drums, who are both seasoned session players who have played with multiple top artists over the years, and you also have Derek Sherinian on keyboards, who over the years has played with multiple top rock acts, including Alice Cooper himself. With the performance of this cover, all really is to say is that it's one of the more higher rated covers on this album. The musicians in this performance are as solid as you'd expect, and as good as Phil Lewis's vocal is, to me, it does sound like he's shouting more than actually singing at times. The third to last song on this CD features vocal virtuoso Glenn Hughes of Deep Purple and guitar virtuoso Paul Gilbert from Mr. Big covering the ballad song Only Women Bleed. This cover also features Mike Porcaro from Toto on bass, Steve Ferrone, who's played with Tom Petty among many of the other all-time greats on drums, and it also features the final appearance of Paul Taylor on keyboards. With this cover, the instrumentation and orchestration is very close to the original, but Glenn Hughes, with his vocal range, etc., just takes this cover to another level. While his screams may be a bit much for some people, I think it takes this cover to a whole new level, and if he had the range Glenn Hughes does, why not show it off? The second to last song on this CD features Don Dokken from Dokken and John Norum from the band Europe singing and playing lead guitar on the classic song I'm 18. This cover also features top bass player Tim Bogert and Greg Bissonette, who's played drums for David Lee Roth's band, worked with multiple top artists, and done a fair bit of TV work. While Anthrax's version of I'm 18 might be better, there is nothing bad to say about this cover at all. John Norum nails the lead guitar parts as you'd expect, and Don Dokken just makes the vocals sound so effortless. The final song on this CD features the rock supergroup The Neurotic Outsiders covering the song Elected. The Neurotic Outsiders were a brief rock supergroup that featured Steve Jones from the Sex Pistols, Duff McKagan and Matt Sorum from Guns N' Roses, and John Taylor from Duran Duran. However, on this cover, you get Steve Jones on vocals, Duff McKagan on bass and vocals, Matt Sorum on drums, and Billy Duffy from The Cult on guitar. And this is a cover that this lineup have made their own. This is the only song of this CD that album producer Bob Kulick doesn't play rhythm guitar, and the Neurotic Outsiders have made this song into a really good and very solid garage punk rock song, which you can especially tell with both the lead and backing vocals. So that's the track by track done, and I do think that this has to be one of the better tribute albums out there. All the songs have a more updated sound compared to the originals, so you have to give credit to Bob Kulick, who's done a great job both producing this album and laying down the rhythm guitar tracks on all but the last song. All the performances don't stray away too much from the original songs, and with how similar some of the lead vocals sound on these covers, it just goes to show how influential Alice Cooper is as a vocalist as well as a showman. One of the main things I like about this CD is the range of artists that are featured on here. You get a mixture of very well-known artists like Slash, Roger Daltrey and Ronnie James Dio, to lesser-known musicians like Stu Hamm and Vinnie Colaiuta, which again shows how influential Alice Cooper is on the music industry. Like I said earlier, it would be better if the track listing on the back also mentioned the artists covering the songs, or at least the singer and lead guitarist. And I notice all the songs are from the 70s, especially the Welcome to My Nightmare album. So you don't get to hear any covers of his 80s and later songs, like Poison and Hey Stupid, etc. Despite them couple things that may not please some people, I would still say that this is one of the better tribute albums out there, mainly due to the artists involved. My favourite performances on here are Ronnie James Dio singing Welcome to My Nightmare and Vince Neil singing Cold Ethel. So that's a wrap, folks. We've reached the end of our captivating CD review journey. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on our upcoming reviews, etc. Trust me, you don't want to miss them. This is Classic Reviews. Check out the 2 videos at the end, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.